Yes, there are a few brands of door chime that have a 1/2-inch locknut to hold the transformer instead of a single set screw. Firstly, Honeywell Home, formerly Honeywell. Secondly, Legrand, formerly Pass and Seymour. Thirdly, Lowe's Cobalt. And fourthly, Eaton, formerly Cooper Wiring Devices. These brands can be found at most major home improvement stores and electrical supply houses. The Locknut type is more secure than the single-set screw type, as it prevents the transformer from loosening and falling out of the chime box. It is also easier to install, as you do not need to hold the transformer in place while tightening the screw. To install a door chime with a Locknut, simply follow these steps. 1. Turn off the power to the chime box at the circuit breaker or fuse box. 2. Remove the cover of the chime box. 3. Connect the wires from the transformer to the chime box terminals as indicated in the instructions. 4. Place the transformer in the chime box and tighten the Locknut until it is snug. 5. Replace the cover of the chime box. 6. Turn on the power to the chime box at the circuit breaker or fuse box. Finally, test the chime to make sure that it is working properly. Let's delve deeper into each step of this process. Before commencing any electrical work, it's absolutely critical to prioritize safety. Locate the circuit breaker or fuse that controls the power to the door chime circuit. This is typically found in your home's main electrical panel. Switch the breaker to the off position or remove the fuse to completely de-energize the circuit. This will prevent any accidental electrical shocks during the installation process. Double check that the power is off by using a non-contact voltage tester to confirm that no voltage is present at the chime box. Once you're certain that the power is off, you can proceed to remove the cover of the chime box. This is usually held in place by screws or clips. Carefully detach the cover and set it aside. With the cover removed, you'll gain access to the internal wiring and terminals of the chime box. Now carefully examine the existing wiring connections. You'll likely find wires coming from the transformer and connecting to terminals in the chime mechanism. These terminals are usually labeled or color-coded to indicate their purpose. If you're replacing an existing door chime, take a photo or make a detailed sketch of the wiring configuration before disconnecting anything. This will serve as a valuable reference when you're reconnecting the wires later. Once you have a clear understanding of the wiring, disconnect the wires from the old transformer from the chime box terminals. Use a screwdriver to loosen the terminal screws and gently pull the wires free. Next, prepare the wires from the new transformer for connection. If the wire ends are frayed or damaged, use wire strippers to trim them and expose fresh wire. Be careful not to nick or cut the wires in the process. Now, refer to the instructions that came with your new door chime. These instructions will provide specific guidance on how to connect the wires from the transformer to the chime box terminals. The terminals may be labeled with symbols such as trans, front, and rear, or with color codes like red, white, and black. Connect the wires from the transformer to the corresponding terminals on the chime box, following the instructions carefully. Ensure that the connections are secure by tightening the terminal screws firmly. After connecting the wires, it's time to mount the transformer in the chime box. The new transformer features a 1/2-inch threaded nipple that will pass through a knockout hole in the chime box. Locate an appropriate knockout hole in the chime box and remove the metal slug if necessary. Insert the transformer's nipple through the knockout hole from the outside of the box. Then, from inside the chime box, thread the locknut onto the nipple. Tighten the locknut securely against the chime box to hold the transformer in place. The locknut provides a much more secure and stable mounting solution than the single-set screw found on some older transformers. Once the transformer is securely mounted, double-check all of the wiring connections to ensure that they are correct and tight. Make sure that no bare wires are exposed and that all connections are properly insulated. Now carefully replace the cover of the chime box. Align the cover with the box and secure it with screws or clips. Ensure that the cover is properly seated to protect the internal components from dust, moisture, and accidental contact. With the cover securely in place, it's time to restore power to the door chime circuit. Return to the electrical panel and switch the circuit breaker back to the on position or replace the fuse. Now test the door chime to make sure that it is working properly. Press the doorbell button and listen for the chime sound. If the chime doesn't sound, double check all of the wiring connections and ensure that the transformer is properly mounted. If you're still having trouble, consult the troubleshooting section of the door chime's instructions or contact a qualified electrician for assistance. If the chime sounds correctly, congratulations, you've successfully installed a new door chime with a secure Locknut mounted transformer. The Locknut provides a more reliable and stable connection than a single set screw, ensuring that your door chime will function properly for years to come. Additional information that may be helpful includes checking the voltage. Using a multimeter, verify that the voltage at the chime box terminals matches the voltage rating of the chime mechanism. This is typically 16 volts alternating current or 24 volts alternating current. If the voltage is too high or too low, it could damage the chime mechanism. If the voltage is incorrect, check the transformer's input voltage and ensure that it is properly wired to your home's electrical system. Then, you can also check the wiring insulation. Inspect the insulation on all of the wires connected to the chime box and transformer. Look for any signs of damage, such as cracks, cuts, or fraying. If you find any damaged insulation, repair it with electrical tape or replace the affected wires. Damaged insulation can create a safety hazard and cause the chime to malfunction. Lastly, you can think about chime location. Consider the location of the chime box. It should be mounted in a dry, protected location away from direct sunlight and moisture. Avoid mounting the chime box in areas where it could be easily damaged or tampered with. By following these steps and tips, you can ensure a safe and successful door chime installation. Remember to always prioritize safety and consult a qualified electrician if you're unsure about any aspect of the process. Now let's talk more about why locknuts are a superior choice to set screws. Set screws rely on friction to hold the transformer in place. Over time, vibrations, temperature changes, and other factors can cause the set screw to loosen, potentially leading to the transformer falling out of the chime box. This can damage the transformer, the chime box, or even create a safety hazard. Locknuts, on the other hand, provide a much more secure and positive connection. A locknut threads onto the transformer's nipple and clamps it firmly against the chime box, preventing it from loosening or falling out. This makes locknuts a more reliable and durable choice for mounting door chime transformers. Furthermore, locknuts are often easier to install than set screws. With a set screw, you typically have to hold the transformer in place while simultaneously tightening the screw. This can be awkward and difficult, especially in tight spaces. With a locknut, you can simply insert the transformer's nipple through the knockout hole and then tighten the locknut with a wrench. This is a much simpler and more straightforward process. Now, let's discuss some of the different types of door chime transformers that are available. Door chime transformers come in a variety of voltage and amperage ratings. The voltage rating must match the voltage requirements of your door chime mechanism. The amperage rating must be sufficient to power the chime without overheating the transformer. Common voltage ratings for door chime transformers are 16 volts alternating current and 24 volts alternating current. The amperage rating typically ranges from 0.5 amps to 1 amp. When choosing a door chime transformer, it's important to select one that is compatible with your door chime mechanism and that meets your power requirement. If you're unsure about which transformer to choose, consult the instructions that came with your door chime or contact a qualified electrician for assistance. Another consideration when choosing a door chime transformer is the mounting style. Some transformers are designed to be mounted directly to a junction box, while others are designed to be mounted to the chime box itself. If you're replacing an existing transformer, it's best to choose a new transformer with the same mounting style to ensure a proper fit. If you're installing a new door chime system, you can choose whichever mounting style you prefer. However, it's important to ensure that the transformer is securely mounted and that all wiring connections are properly insulated. In addition to the brands mentioned earlier, there are many other manufacturers of door chime transformers. Some popular brands include Newtone, Heath Zenith, and Hampton Bay. When shopping for a door chime transformer, it's a good idea to compare prices and features from different brands to find the best option for your needs. Also, be sure to read reviews from other customers to get an idea of the quality and reliability of different transformers. Finally, let's discuss some common problems that can occur with door chimes and transformers. One common problem is that the chime doesn't sound when the doorbell button is pressed. This can be caused by a number of factors, such as a dead battery, a loose wiring connection, a faulty transformer, or a broken chime mechanism. To troubleshoot this problem, start by checking the battery if applicable. If the battery is dead, replace it with a new one. Next, check all of the wiring connections to make sure that they are tight and secure. If you find any loose connections, tighten them with a screwdriver. If the wiring connections are all good, test the transformer with a multimeter to see if it is providing the correct voltage. If the transformer is faulty, replace it with a new one. If the transformer is good, the problem may be with the chime mechanism itself. In this case, you may need to replace the entire chime unit. Another common problem is that the chime sounds weak or distorted. This can be caused by a low voltage, a faulty transformer, or a damaged chime mechanism. To troubleshoot this problem, start by checking the voltage at the chime box terminals. If the voltage is low, check the transformer's input voltage and ensure that it is properly wired to your home's electrical system. If the voltage is good, the problem may be with the transformer itself. In this case, replace the transformer with a new one. If the transformer is good, the problem may be with the chime mechanism itself. In this case, you may need to replace the entire chime unit. Remember that working with electricity can be dangerous. If you are not comfortable working with electrical wiring, it's best to consult a qualified electrician for assistance.